Today we're traveling to the beautiful city of Tel Aviv, Israel, to meet one of the country's greatest thinkers, Opher Brayer. Opher started off as he likes to call himself, the most untalented person on earth. He spent his childhood failing at everything, but rather than despair, instead, he was inspired with a great passion for education. As a young adult, Opher taught music, and over the course of the next 20 years, has trained more than 3,000 musicians, of whom at least 200 are now renowned world-class touring and recording artists. As a self-taught person, the methodologies he employed in his music teaching were not music-based, but rather built on mathematics, philosophy, and psychology, which later allowed him to apply these methodologies to various business disciplines, from marketing to brand management to even professional development. In the last 20 years, Opher has dedicated his life to talent development. He built the Talent Academy and has helped children, entrepreneurs, business, and world leaders to reach their full potential. As a talent designer, Opher's unique methodologies combine talent design with management strategies and aim to help people develop their talents and take them as far as possible, both on a personal and economic level. Today we have an exclusive interview with Opher, who is also now CEO of Swing Management, located in the heart of Tel Aviv, one of the fastest growing tech startup cities in the world.
Opher, it's great to have you today, and thanks for making the time to be here. I just want to start with, we're here sitting in the beautiful city of Tel Aviv, Israel, and I've noticed a lot of things here. I've noticed that people have a certain work ethic that is quite different from other parts of the world. There seems to be a sense of urgency in people's work. Can you tell a little about that and what this sense of urgency may be all about?
Well, in order to explain a sense of urgency, we have to understand what a sense means. Okay, and then urgency, because a sense is something that is innate. The only question is, are you born with it? Okay, or the environment that you're being controlled by will create this sense for you. So most people believe that you're being born with senses, like seeing, hearing, touching, but there are tens of senses, like sense of responsibility, common sense, which is a mix of some of them, and sense of responsibility and sense of urgency. You see, Israel is living in sense of urgency because of the environment. Now imagine you have a war. You have 3,000 missiles running after your ass. Sorry for using this word.
No worries.
You have to run fast, right? To the basement or somewhere else, to a shelter. Okay. Now you live in a country in war for 60 years. Wouldn't you be like in an urgency mode every moment of life, listening to see if you can hear the siren telling the missiles are coming over here, or there is a war, or there's something else? So sense of urgency is being created by the environment. This is a country of 67 years old. Okay.
A new country.
Very new country. And within a country that you have a sense of urgency, it means that it's already too late. A sense of urgency is about the feeling that it's already too late. Let's move faster. Okay? So now you say it's a new country, so we need new businesses. That's why it became to be a startup nation, because we need to build new businesses.
Of course.
But this sense of urgency also says we really would like to be here for the next 200 years. We're not sure that we are able or we are capable, okay, to have a country for the next 200 years. And we might have to run from here. Therefore, we build businesses in a very fast mode and sell them as fast as we can. You know, like selling ways to Google for $1.5 billion, okay? Because it's better have enough money to reinvest in our country, okay? In order to grow the number of businesses, in order to be strong enough economically, in order to be able to bring peace. And you have to be very strong economically to bring peace.
So there's quite an incentive for that.
Okay, so this sense of urgency is based that the environment have created this sense for you. Okay, it's not you being born with it. So everybody, they drive fast over here, they don't have time, they're in a rush. Not everybody, like 80% of the people. We have to build the startup as fast as possible, get investment, business model, blah blah blah, and fast, because we are fast movers, because the environment has created. So there are benefits to it, because if you want to do business with Israelis, for sure you can trust one thing: being very fast. Also, on the other part, sense of urgency means high level of creativity. Why is that? Because you don't have time to think of an idea. You must have the right idea, the correct idea right now, because there's no time. So for us, sense of urgency have created another sense, the creative sense. Therefore, Israelis are known to be very creative people, and it's because of the sense of urgency, and maybe we have to thank this environment of living in war to create such a beautiful country with a lot of creativity and a lot of entrepreneurship.
So let me ask you, Opher, I've heard you've been called many things: a talent developer, a personal branding expert, an expert mentor. Can you explain to us what is it that you do best, and how exactly do you influence people's lives?
None of the above. You see, when I was young, 3 years old, I used to teach my puppets. I wanted to be like my father, a good teacher. When I was 6 years old, I went to school, and I was better than the teacher at school because I practiced for 3 years teaching, and she just started teaching. I think that I'm a very good teacher. So a mentor, a consultant, a coach, these are all outcomes of the ability to teach. And this is what I know how to do best. So what does it mean for an entrepreneur? What does it mean for a CEO? I can teach you the right way to build your talent and manage the strategy correctly. So branding is just knowing how to manage, your personal branding. And most people that I know, they know hardly about management strategies. They know business strategies. But you fail in management, you don't fail in the model. And people fail to brand themselves. Why? Because they believe they're lying about themselves, or because of other reasons. So in order to be able to manage your life correctly, you have to learn about management skills, or personal management skills, which branding is a part of it, and entrepreneurship is a part of it. And becoming to be a high level, a C-level manager, it's the same. You have to know how to manage the process, the people, the system, the structures in the correct way. And management is something we lack. We are not even being taught by our parents how to manage our life.
Now, on that note, I'd like to talk about the implications of maybe not properly branding yourself. The renowned futurist Thomas Frey said that half of all jobs will disappear by 2030. That's estimated 2 billion jobs.
Yes.
Now, recently, the Daily Mail released a report of 20 jobs that would completely vanish in the next 20 years. I'll just list a few. Just 6 of them are telemarketers, insurance underwriters, cargo and freight agents, data entry clerks, tax preparers, even bank tellers. And there's 14 other common jobs. Now, you've written extensively on how it's necessary for a person to constantly reinvent themselves, yet there's still many that think their jobs will always be there. So maybe you can tell us, what steps do we take now when it's not clear if our profession will even exist in the next few years?
The only question I will have to you or to the audience is which expertise will remain? Because you said some of them will remain. Are you sure about that?
You tell me.
I don't think so. I think most of them will vanish totally. You see, people have patterns of behavior in their mind. Patterns are algorithms. If you can take these patterns that you have in your brain and write them as algorithms, computer will do the same like you, and on a higher level of productivity. It's if there was a cashier in the bank before, ATM machine can do much better. If there are still some people managing, those offices of banks or something, they will vanish. Because the next level of ATM machines, and I know them, I've seen them, can do more than the manager of this little bank branch at your little town. Okay, so I think that a lot of things will vanish. Only one thing will not vanish. We can still be more creative than machines. So being creative is what you need to perform best. And why is that? We can create better than machines because to manage, machine can manage better. Okay, to produce, machine can make it better than us. But the creative part has to do with senses, and it's very hard to develop senses for a machine. How do you develop common sense for a machine? How do you develop a musical sense for a machine? Yes, you can write algorithms that will write for you music, okay, and it might become very commercial, okay, but not the high-level sense that humans have. And so what I think that people should do, okay, is build technologies around their brains. So if you can like connect the brain to a machine that will suck those patterns that you have and create something that can do like you, it's basically what you do, you create robots based on your brain. And I'm sure that this is exactly what we're doing today. I mean, we don't connect it, you know, to electrodes or something, but this is the one part. The other part is being creative enough to run faster than technology. And our brain is not being built to run faster than technologies, unfortunately. Our brain is even slower than technology. That's why for most people it's hard to learn a new technology. Okay, so when the brain is being developed slowly by very old-fashioned educational systems that have nothing to do with reality of today, and they move like 3 miles per hour, and technology is moving 1,000 miles per hour, and the gap is getting bigger, and most people become to be more stupid than technology. You know, even the iPhone, it can make you to be more productive but more stupid. Like you don't exercise memory anymore because the iPhone remember for you the numbers. The iPhone will calculate for you or any other machine. So your brain is not being trained to think faster, to think better, and to do things that computer can do. And probably within 10 years, okay, I'll rather use my iPhone to manage my business than I'll use any outsource in the world. Okay, and you can see it's coming over there. We still need people that will create websites. I'm sure nobody will need a website creator or designer within 10 years. Nobody.
Actually, on that list, one of the jobs that was listed as going to be irrelevant is a social media manager, which is interesting because you think about social media today and you have a social media expert that handles Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest, but the generation that we live in now, people are starting to do this at a very young age. So why do we need someone to manage that when everyone will know in the next 5 years exactly how to do that sort of thing?
They will not even have to know how to do it. There will be algorithms on different apps that will do it for you. You ask the question, the algorithm will fight against another algorithm, against your competitor, and technology will have to find this with the same technology. But you will have to have the right senses to make some of the decisions on a very higher level before you want to go. And this sense is not being developed today at all. When we talk about unique talent proposition, it means, like I've said before, something unique that you're very talented at. Okay. And what does it mean proposition? It means there is a need in the market. If there's no need in the market, don't propose it. Okay. Unless you're going to teach the market to love something or to need something that the market does not need, which is a little bit harder to do. Possible. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Okay. You know, I've built a couple of schools in my life. A school for entrepreneurs, and a school for career development, and a school for talent development for kids, and a school of business relationship. So I've, you know, in one of my schools, there was a guy who was in a corporate environment, And he said, well, I like what I do. I go to work in the morning, I come back in the evening. You know, I'm earning nice, like 100,000 a year. And I'm happy. So I asked him, so why are you here? I mean, if you're happy, if you don't want to become a CEO, then what? Well, I'm being bored and doing what I'm doing. Okay, so the question was, so what do you do, you know, after work? What do you do when you go home? And his story was remarkable. He said, well, when I go home, I do nothing. But you watch television, right? No. You go to the beach. We have a beautiful beach here in Israel.
I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. It says, no. You read the book? No, you play with the kids. Sometimes. And so what do you do? Well, you know, the only thing I do, but that's not important for our conversation, you know. Okay, I create lasagna.
Create lasagna.
So I asked him, what do you mean create lasagna? Like once a month? Oh no, every day. For God's sake, why are you creating lasagna every day?
Create as in cook? Cook lasagna?
Cooking lasagna.
Cooking lasagna.
He goes to the kitchen every day, but then comes home, and he creates a lasagna, and you know, cooking. Why do you do it? Because it's relaxing. I'm very nervous after a whole day at work, and I create the lasagna, and who eats it? I mean, your kids eat lasagna every day? She says no. So what do you do with it? Well, I bring it to work. I give it to people in the neighborhood. So you want to tell me you do lasagna every day, like 300 days per year? Yeah. For how long have you been doing this? 10 years? Do you create the same lasagna every time again and again? Oh no, he said. Okay, I can create 1,000 different ones.
1,000 different lasagnas.
Yeah. He's very creative. He's creating. I'm not sure that everything, tastes good. So I asked him, that's interesting. That's a unique talent proposition. 1000lasagna.com. I said to him, do people ask you, for how to create a lasagna from time to time? Do you teach them how to? How many friends do you have? He says, well, not many. I have two from the school that I went to, two for work, two neighbors. So I ask him, does one of them ask you once a year how to make lasagna at home by himself? He says, yes. So if I help you, to share it with 100 people on Facebook, do you think that 10 people might use once a year one of your lasagnas? Yes, he says. And what if I'll help you to build a blog and put a video that shows how you create and you explain how you do, and you will have your own private show of 1000lasagnas.com, and I'll bring 1,000 people to download your videos, and maybe 100 of them only will download it once a year. And what if we'll spend some money on it and create something nice, and bring 1 million people to your website, and you sell them for $10, 1000lasagnas.com, how-tos. So he looks at me, and then I said to him, that if for 1 million, 100,000 will buy it for $10, that you might make $1 million a year, which is 10 times more than you're making right now. Says, yes, but I enjoy doing this. And nothing happened. 2 years later, he was kicked off his company because people don't need professions like he has.
He was fired. He was let go from his company.
And still, he did not understand that he can be #1 in the world with the number of lasagnas he creates. So, would people buy that? Yes, people are hungry. And yes, people want to cook at home from time to time. But he did not understand, because the future is here, and he is an old school person, and now for the past 3 years he's still looking for a job.
Amazing.
Instead of becoming to be a great entrepreneur with a great talent and unique talent proposition with a need in the market.
Yeah, and it sounds like you told him that you don't have to just quit your job tomorrow. You can test that concept. You can validate it. You can say, hey,
you can share.
If you put it out on Facebook and get X amount of people interested, if you can do that on a small level, why not make it larger? So it sounded like he didn't really have to risk a lot in doing that. It wasn't like you said, Opher, hey, quit your job and go all in on creating this lasagna website. You gave him a transition plan, a way to validate that
just
concept.
Brought some joy to what he does, saying one word, share. You know what I like about Facebook?
The share button.
No, it's what's behind it. It's like they brought the word share to the world. Just share. If people could have shared between each other great things, more people would have been happier. And if more people would have said like to you and like what you do, you've been happier. 2 buttons that can change the world.
Share and like, 2 buttons that can change the world. I'm going to have to quote you on that. So let's talk about a little more about entrepreneurship. So, Opher, you've consulted with perhaps hundreds of entrepreneurs, ranging from Silicon Valley to Ivy League universities to even internet millionaires. Leveraging your expert knowledge as a talent developer, what is the most important lesson that most people don't know about how to be a successful entrepreneur? Maybe a lesson that an aspiring entrepreneur or even a single mom or even a jobless college grad can leverage to help minimize risk or avoid failure. Is there something that most people just don't know that they wish they could probably have learned in the beginning?
Yeah, and it has to do with things that I've said before here. You see, the environment in Israel created this ability of most Israelis to be entrepreneurial, working in a rush, being creative. I think that the answer is not by buying a product on how to build an online business or any kind of business. I think when you set up the right environment, things will change. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you must live with entrepreneurs. You must live with successful entrepreneurs. You must create the right environment to manage this company at home. The right environment could be your kids, and could be your friends, could be technologists, could be people online, could be people on Skype. If you don't live in the right environment, you have to fight. If you leave, it flows. So most people sit at home and they buy a product for $2,000, how to build a business. Maybe 3% of them will do something with it. And what is the reason? The environment. And I'll show you how. Let's take music. Let's take basketball. How long can you stay in front of the basket being lonely? For how many years and doing like this? Don't you need a group of people around you? Can you become to be the best basketball player without having friends to play basketball with?
You need a team.
You can play the saxophone alone at home or the guitar. But what happens if you have a band and you meet every week and you play for hours together and you create? So loneliness is the worst to become to be something successful. Build the team, build the right surrounding, be in the right environment, live in the right city, create a home with an environment for entrepreneurship or something else, it doesn't matter. It's all about the environment you create. And you have to know how to create and how to choose the right people and what processes and systems and structures you have to build in there. Okay? Because it's very hard to be successful alone. So the answer is not you on a yacht with a laptop to be multi-billionaire. And I've been working for billionaires. They have a lot of people around them. Some of them are their employees, some of them are their friends, some of them joint venture. They network, they meet, they're all around, okay? That's why relationship is so important. Networking is not on LinkedIn. Networking is what you've been doing with me for the past 3 days. Building relationship, being together here. You didn't think about coming to Israel. I said, come over. I mean, you are here like 2-hour flight. For $100, we can be together for 3 days and something will happen out of it. This is relationship. So when you travel, you need to meet people, and you need to build relationship, real relationship, not like, okay, I went to this event and I met a lot of people and I feel cool. That's, by the way, that's one of the reasons people go to events, to be in the right environment. But that environment is just for 3 days, and then it's dead. You go home, you sit alone in front of a computer, and a computer by itself is not an environment. It's a part of an environment.
It reminds me of a quote I like to say, you know, you are the cumulative average of your 5 closest friends. It seems like the folks that are most closest to you, you tend to gravitate. So if they are positive, then you're leaning more positive. If they are negative, then that can bring you down a little more.
Right. Yeah.
So, Opher, you're renowned for your ability to develop talent and profound abilities in people. You are also well known for creating life-changing methodologies. In fact, you have, if I recall, over 100 of these methodologies.
162.
162 methodologies. So, Opher, can you tell us...
More to come.
More to come. Yeah, there'll probably be 170 by the end of the day, knowing you.
By the end of the month, probably.
End of the month. Okay, well, we'll quote that. Can you give us an example of one of these methodologies and maybe one of the problems that it actually solves?
One of the rules that I can give you is, first of all, divide your day that 2/3% of the day will be to recharge, and only 1/3 will be to execute decision making and work. So I call it the 8-8-8 model. Start by sleeping 8 hours. 7, not 6, 8. By the way, some people can't sleep more than 6 hours, so they have to teach themselves how to do that. That's enough. That's 100% energy. 8 hours. Yes, you can live on less. You can take your iPhone in the morning and have 70% on it and go with it, right? But if you want to make good decisions, you need to have 100%, of energy. So you go to work, and well, in the end of the day, you sucked at least 1/3 of the energy that you have, and then have good life, because it recharges the energy. Because the energy can be recharged emotionally, physically, intellectually, in many ways, and then go to sleep again. So 8 hours of work, 8 hours of filling in, and 8 hours of sleep, can create 100% energy. But that's not enough. Why? Because if you want to do something in the afternoon, let's say you've worked since this morning for 8 hours, and it took a lot of energy to make decisions. So maybe the battery is like 70%, empty. Then you have to manage your time during the day with micromanagement of your time, and I call it the 22/8 rule. You 22 focus on a task, 22 minutes. Then you take an 8 minutes break, if it's possible. Because if it's in half an hour between us now, I will not be able to do it, but I will take it later. Then you have to know what to do with the 8 minutes, emotionally, physically, intellectually, to recharge your battery. It's like taking the iPhone and connect it to the wall every 22 minutes for 8 minutes. Then it will be on 100%, all the time. So if you can manage your time by sequences of 22 minutes, by segments of 22 minutes and 8 minutes break, when you finish 8 hours of work, you've worked only 6 hours. Sharp focus. And still you have a battery which is 100% filled, and to go for the rest of the day, to live your life with 100% energy and focus, for the rest of it. So this is kind of one way to see it, It can come into relationship that they have models and business strategies, and it does matter. You see, most people have methodologies with bugs that have been created by education. Now, can they have a precise model in their brain to do it again and again, again and again, and be successful again and again in every aspect of their life? They need models. And if they don't have the right models and it's not adapted to their personality, no chance that it will work.
Yeah, and I'll just add, some of what you say, it's not it's not like you're totally making this up. I mean, there's a technique called the Pomodoro method, where basically you work at a 25-minute interval, and at the end of 25 minutes, you take 5 minutes to essentially relax, surf the web, just totally relax your mind. And it's a proven technique to basically, you're not spending all your energy for working hours at a time. You're basically doing a certain interval, taking a break. So I think that's very, very similar to what you're saying now.
The only thing is to understand why it is exactly 22 and not 25. And what do you do with the 8 minutes? Because surfing the internet can also suck some energy instead of bringing energy. So it depends what you do on the internet.
I see.
Because if you have a lot of attention grabbers, they will suck your energy. They will not build your energy. So it's not like, say, okay, 25 minutes and then 5 minutes, just surf the internet. No. For each person, there will be 40 different 8 minutes breaks that you can use in a week. And you have to personalize it. For some people, surfing, will be investment of more energy. And for some people, the surfing will bring energy. And surfing, what does it mean? Going where? What do you do? What does it do to you? So you have to personalize to the unique personality.
Right.
That's why I have a process which is being called personal operating system analysis, which can analyze 14,000 different behaviors in your brain. This can be done within 6 weeks.
14,000 behaviors. 40,000 behaviors.
40 and another 30. And there's a known behavior. There's an archetypal kind of events that are recurring events in your brain. You can't see them because they are positioned in different cases, in different times of the day, in different places. But it's the same mistake that you can do in relationship that you will do in your business. And you don't see the correlation between them because it's the same pattern in the brain.
That's amazing. So just to finish out, speaking of methodologies, there's a methodology called the 80-20 rule, and a lot of people haven't heard of that. It's essentially that the 80-20 rule. I wanted to just share that it's a way that people can use a minimal amount of effort to maximize results. And it sounded like I heard a little of that in what you were just saying. Do you also follow the 80-20 rule, or do you just use that as part of your methodology? And if you can explain what exactly that means.
Well, at least I can tell you that the 80-20 rule is a sense that was developed in me in the past 20 years by practicing again and 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 again. And the reason is because when you manage energy of any kind, focus the energy on the most important part. It's like, I'll give it to you as an example in martial arts. You can move around, you can move around, you can move around, you can move around, but the one kick that will kill the person is only one kick. Do you know where it is, when it is, and what you're supposed to do in it together? It's like I played chess with my daughter a couple of days ago, and I'm quite a good chess player. I studied for years now. And I created a whole strategy. How am I attacking her? And how within 27 moves, she will be destroyed. And she was sitting there because she's a good student. She's 19 years old. And she was searching just for one move. And it was a chase mate immediately.
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Immediately. It was not like check and I had where to move. And I've created a beautiful strategy, a lot of energy invested. But you see, when you teach your children how to do it, they become to be better than you. She was just, defending, and looking for that position. When she found it, click. So in life, when you look at your life, and you look through the day, you take an hour of a day, you take a minute of a day, you can see easily that only 20% of the time invested, energy invested, intellectual properties invested, only 20% brings you 80% of your results. But do you know how to focus and see it? That's a sense you have to develop. So the 80-20 rule, okay, is something you have to develop as a sense. We've started with a sense. We're going to finish with a sense. This can be planted in your brain only by practically practicing again and again for thousands of times, and being the right environment that will support the training. It will become to be an automatic behavior. Thinking 80-20 rule is not by reading the model. It's not by reading a book. Building a business is not about reading a book or learning a process. It's by being trained, okay, hundreds of times to the right thing at the right time.
Well, thanks so much, Opher, for being with us today. All right.
Thank you.
All right.